Shalom, this is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Sweet Good Torah. We have an amazing Parsha, Parsha Terumah. So we're going to ask the question, how do you build a house for an infinite being? So it's amazing. The Parsha Terumah tells us in great specification, details of exactly what should the length be, what should the width be, what are the kalim, what are the things that we put into the house. And we're building a house for Hashem, we're building a house for an infinite being. So there's another question, which is interesting. Why are we building a house for an infinite being? Hashem's infinite, He's everywhere. One of the names of Hashem is Hamakom, the place. And what does that mean? It means that when Hashem created the universe, when Hashem created time and space, all of it is inside Hashem. Hashem is the place where the universe was created in. So this infinite being that fills all the worlds, why does He need a house? He's everywhere already. Hashem's everywhere. The Kabbalists call Hashem the Ein Sof, no end, infinite. So how are we building a house for an infinite being? But the question also is, why are we building a house for an infinite being? Hashem's everywhere. Hashem's with us. He's everywhere. He's always around us. We're always inside Hashem. Hashem's always with us. But it's interesting because we really don't always feel so close to Hashem. We live in a world now where we actually feel very distant from Hashem, and Hashem's very hidden. And if you listen to the news media every day, and if you watch the movies and read the books and the video games and the popular music, you'll hardly ever hear Hashem's name mentioned, if not ever. Hashem's not mentioned by the mass media on a daily basis. And only the handful of those that are learning His Torah and doing His mitzvahs really feel Hashem's presence in the world. So how do we feel Hashem's presence more? And the goal of all creation, why Hashem created everything, is that Hashem wants a personal relationship with us all. And Hashem wants us to come close to Him and be close to us. So the goal of all creation is that the Shekhinah, the physical presence of Hashem, of this infinite being, will reside in the Mishkan. When we were in the Midbar, we were in the desert for 40 years, Hashem's Shekhinah rested in the midst of the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night, on top of the Aron HaKodesh, the Ark of the Covenant, and the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Holy of the Holies of the Mishkan. And Hashem Shekhinah is a clue, because the word is related to Shachen, which means neighbor, or Shechunah, which means neighborhood. So the Shekhinah of Hashem is when you take a Shechen, you take a neighbor, and Hashem takes the Yud, the first letter of His name, Yud He Vav He, and He puts it into Shechen. And Hashem's Shekhinah becomes our neighbor, and Hashem becomes our neighbor. And we're literally living next door when we had a Mishkan. And we had a Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem, on the Har HaBayis, on the Temple Mount. We had the first and the second temple. And B'ezrat Hashem, in the future, when we rebuild the third temple, Hashem's presence will be right there. And we'll feel much closer to this infinite being because we simply have to the point. There, I see the pillar of cloud by day over the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and in that pillar of cloud is the Shekhinah of Hashem. Hashem's right there. He's our neighbor. This infinite being is our neighbor. And by night, the pillar of fire. And inside the pillar of fire is the Shekhinah of Hashem. So the very first thing Hashem commands us to build is the Aron HaKodesh, the Ark of the Covenant, the beautiful golden box. And it was actually a golden box, and it was fit inside a box of shittim wood, of cedar wood. And then it was fit inside another box of gold. And then it was covered, and out of one piece of gold, there was the cover, which was a tefach high, about 4 inches, and then the two keruvim, the two golden keruvim, the malachim, the angels, one looked like a young boy, and one looked like a young girl. And it was a miraculous nace, a miracle that happened. And when Hashem was close to the Jewish people, when we were doing, what Hashem wanted, these two malachim, these two keruvim on top of the Ark of the Covenant were hugging each other. And Has V'Shalom, when Hashem was displeased with us, they would turn away. And we saw and felt Hashem's presence right there. And we were so close. And He lived in the house in the midst of us all. And B'ezrat Hashem, this is the goal for the future. And the fact that Hashem commanded us to first build the Aron HaKodesh, inside it we put first the broken luchos, the 2 sapphire tablets that had the 10 Commandments written on them, both sides, sorry. And even when Moshe shattered them, Hashem said to put them in the Aron HaKodesh. And then when we got the new set of luchos, the second set of sapphire tablets that had the 10 Commandments, and then the whole Sefer Torah. So the Torah itself goes into the Aron HaKodesh, and that's the clue. The Torah is the means. By learning Hashem's Torah and doing His mitzvos, we begin to make ourselves fit to have Hashem as our neighbor, as our next door neighbor. And eventually the whole world will be fit again to have the Shekhinah of Hashem reside in the world. And then we will live in a world no longer of confusion. Is there a God? Is there an infinite being that created us and loves us? It will be obvious, because everyone will go to Yerushalayim, everyone will go to Jerusalem, and they'll go to the temple on the Temple Mount, Bezrat Hashem, and they'll see the presence of Hashem right there. And everyone will know clearly that there is a God that's created the world, and the world is inside of Him, and that we are all His children. And this is the goal. This is the goal. And Terumah begins to teach us how to build that house for an infinite being. In Bezrat Hashem, we'll see the coming of Mashiach soon, and see the rebuilding of the third base of Mikdash. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you back again soon on Sweet Good Torah.